Can you cook eggs on top of Mount Everest? I want to talk about a relatively obscure game called Arctic Eggs today. It's a bizarre indie game that's got people debating if it's genius or just pure chaos. So, Arctic Eggs is, weirdly enough, a cooking game, but it's not your average cooking game. It's one part cooking simulator, one part dark comedy, and all parts fever dream. You're tasked with feeding people in a frozen dystopian setting where cooking eggs becomes a near spiritual journey. It's one of those games where the premise is so simple, yet it manages to be strangely deep. Your goal in the game is to feed enough people well enough to get the attention of this mysterious deity, the Saint of Six Stomachs, so you can get an audience with it and request to leave this place. One of the coolest aspects here is the atmosphere. People you serve are all unique characters, each with a line or two of dialogue that are sometimes oversharing and other times hints at the world around you. A dystopia with surreal details and vague backstory like a war with Argentina that no one seems to understand. The game's setting with its chunky retro graphics fits perfectly. It feels like a forgotten PS2 game, which somehow adds to the charm and makes you feel like you're the only one who's gonna remember this strange experience. The atmosphere in Arctic Eggs is enhanced by a surprisingly good soundtrack. The jazzy tunes keep things calm and smooth, which is a nice contrast to sometimes stressful gameplay. And visually, like I said before, the game has this retro gritty style so common in indie games nowadays that give it a sort of nostalgic, comforting vibe. Some of the ingredients you're given are not exactly traditional. Let's just say that cigarettes and bugs and even bullets find their way into the recipe sometimes, for flavoring, of course. You're always on your toes trying to make each dish just right, no matter how strange the requirements get. Arctic Eggs might look like a simple cooking game, but trust me, it takes some skill. The gameplay loop can be a bit of a learning curve. You think you're about to get it right, and then the egg just flies out of the pan. Introducing ice and beer bottles or live blowfish into the mix can make things even more complicated. But between tricky physics, time constraints, and chaotic requests, there's a lot more than it meets the eye. Mastering these mechanics is half the fun, though it can be frustrating when your perfect egg flip is ruined by a rogue bullet the guards throw at your pan just for the fun of watching you struggle. Not everyone is a fan of this game though. For some, the difficulty and chaotic mechanics are more frustrating than fun. One person mentioned that the on-screen text flickers in a way that makes it hard to read, especially if you have visual impairments or dyslexia. To be honest, I thought it was a cool artistic decision, although God knows I struggle with it, but that's just because I'm a dumbass. Others just couldn't get past the tricky mechanics and ultimately found the game boring and annoying, which, considering the fact that the game gives you different pan sizes to adjust difficulty, might be, in my opinion, a skill issue. Sorry, I'm leaving. I had to. Sorry, I had to. For me, there's something oddly comforting about games like Arctic Eggs that embrace a kind of nonsensical, absurdist kind of dark humor. At first glance, the absurdity seems to mock reality, but maybe that's why it resonates so much with people. We live in a world that... we live in a society. We live in a world that can feel pretty chaotic and confusing most of the time, and games like this reminds us that it's okay to laugh at the chaos sometimes. Maybe even find a strange kind of peace in it. Dark, nonsensical humor tends to thrive on ambiguity. It doesn't try to make everything clear or logical. Instead, it throws you into the weirdness headfirst and leaves you to figure it out. Hello, scary mister. I wish they would invent a toilet that doesn't whisper sweet nothings in your ear. Why the side eye? Look at it. Oh no! I'm not enjoying this discussion. Yeah, me neither. Cool, yeah. This makes it a bit surreal but relatable, almost like the game is saying, yeah, things don't make sense here either, but let's just go with it. And somehow that can be comforting to a lot of people, me included. One of the most haunting ideas in Arctic Eggs is the subtle hint that people are slowly losing their humanity piece by piece, literally and figuratively, to machinery. This isn't just a world of weird meals, it's a place where people have started replacing parts of their bodies with mechanical substitutes. Over time, these replacements seem to add a layer of emotional distance and alienation. There's a sense of melancholy to it, this quiet conflict between the organic and the mechanical, with people wondering at what point do we stop being ourselves. What's fascinating about a game exploring this theme is that it mirrors our own real-life anxieties about tech and identity. As we automate more and replace our own work, memories, or even bodies with technology, Arctic Eggs taps into that fear of becoming something we can no longer recognize. But there's also a strange comfort in the fact that others feel the same way. Another random and unsettling bit of Arctic Eggs lore is its setting in the world where the poles are slowly switching places. The North and South poles will eventually swap, destabilizing the world in a process that everyone just has to wait out. It's a weirdly poetic twist, this idea that while everything's falling apart, it will one day settle down, just not soon. It's as if the game is saying that chaos, even on a global scale, is natural and inevitable. It's a powerful metaphor for the feeling of living in chaotic times. The game reflects how when the world is in turmoil, people don't just stop, they adapt. Sometimes in strange, even absurd ways. They cling to small routines like cooking eggs for each other to find a sense of normalcy. Arctic Eggs uses this cosmic scale upheaval to remind us that in a world constantly changing, we all find ourselves hanging on to small comforts, no matter how surreal the circumstances. The game's dystopian humor lets us step back and see the absurdity in our own worries. It reminds us that we're all grappling with weird, sometimes existential questions that have no answers, and probably never will. And that's okay. Sometimes all you can do about it is cook eggs for each other, dance, talk about obscure things on the internet, or play an indie game about frying cigarettes and sardine cans in a dystopian world. So if you're into quirky experimental games with an offbeat, weird sense of humor, this could be a hidden gem for you. It's a short experience, but it packs in enough creativity and weird charm to be worth the price. However, if you're prone to rage quitting or hate gameplay loops, the challenging physics and eccentric mechanics might be a bit too much for you. So, did you beat the game? Did you play the game? Do you think I'm reading too much into it? Who's your favorite character? Mine is a dude who's got no idea what's going on during the very serious gang bar conversation. Let me know if there's anything else you want to talk about in the comments, if there's any weird, obscure indie games that you want me to review next. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe because it just helps me keep doing these videos. And we got to 1K recently. I'm not gonna shut up about it. I'm so happy. Thank you so much. We just unlocked the membership feature on YouTube, so if you want to watch the videos before everyone else, get shout outs and more exclusive content, just click the join button down below. So yeah, like I said, don't forget to like the video, don't forget to subscribe. I'm gonna do more of these kind of review, kind of philosophical videos from now on, because I think people actually liked it and I like making it. So yeah, if you want to see the actual footage of the gameplay and also my kitties during the whole thing, it's on my live stream. I'm gonna link it somewhere around here. But yeah, I usually post the whole gameplay in a live stream, and then I make like a really cut up video with the review and my opinions on it. So yeah, if you want to see the whole thing, check it out somewhere up here. I'm gonna link it somewhere around here. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye. I've been meal prepping for years simply because it's a great way. Oh my god, words. That's pretty good. Oh god. Why? No. We would have our very own anti-disestablishmentarianism movement on our hands. How did I read that so easily? So lumpy. Go team. That's me in work meetings. I zone out. People are talking, and then at the end they're like, yep, anybody got any questions? Everybody's on the same page, and I'm like, yep, no questions. Yeah, I understood everything. Look at the moves on that guy though. Really distracting me. That was pretty fun, but I never want to see a blowfish ever again in my life.